Hello everyone, I'm just popping in today to give you guys a very special surprise. If you guys have not seen on social media, I have started a brand new podcast. See, Iris approached me about a few weeks back asking me to do a different kind of podcast. A podcast to where instead of me presenting other people, I present myself as well as Iris presenting herself on a more personal level. After a little bit of brainstorming, we came together. We decided to start the brand new podcast, Get Connected with Iris and Nathan. It's a fun little endeavor that, I want to try, branch out, do something a little different, a little bit experimental. If it sounds like something you guys are absolutely interested in doing, I highly recommend you check out this episode, as well as go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel or listen on whatever audio streaming platform you prefer. I'll have a link in the description below to where you can find the YouTube channel and all that stuff. But aside from that, like I said, I figured to give you guys more than just me telling you about the podcast, how about I give you guys as the first episode, free on me. Nice little fun little preview for you guys, see if this is something you guys want to listen to, and like I said, hopefully it'll lead you guys to go to the YouTube channel or Spotify or wherever you can find fantastic podcasts, subscribe, and get ready for brand new episodes, as we're going to be trying to release this every Friday. Hopefully. We're still figuring out schedules, we're still figuring out all the kinks and stuff, but regardless, I think it's something fun. I think you guys are going to all enjoy. So, without further ado, please enjoy Get Connected with Iris and Nathan.
All right, ready, Post? You ready to do this?
Ready as I'll ever be. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get all those. We'll get all the funkies out. We'll be ready for this episode, and the first episode, with that being the case. So,
this is, or at the very least, we can call this episode 0, the pilot episode, like I did with my pilot episode.
Yeah. We'll say this is the origin point. This is specimen 0, patient 0 of podcasting.
I was gonna say, so literally, so I don't know if you know this, but episode 0 is with Sal, the guy that actually did our logo.
Yeah.
Yep. It's one of those, I purposely did it like that because, one, I knew he was an artist, so it's like it worked perfectly for what I was trying to do with the podcast, but also, like, it was a way for me to test how the thing worked, because I had never done anything like that before, like any sort of like screen recording or anything along the lines of that. I learned really fucking quickly how shit needed to work. Like, for example, how to do screen capture, how I needed to download the Discord app instead of using the Discord through like a web browser or whatnot, because it was crashing like at least 10 different times in the middle of that conversation. And I also learned that that's whenever I'm doing like an interview style podcast, that's why I need to do the writing down the notes thing, because I just went into it blindly thinking like, oh, I know Sal enough, I'm sure I could come up with some questions, and I was struggling.
Yeah, you get to those situations where it's like, oh yeah, and how do you feel about that?
Yeah, exactly.
The world of the modern art, the postmodern art itself, how does that make you feel? All right, that's all the time we have today, ladies and gentlemen. That's it. We're out of here.
But that's why whenever I at least do like interview style podcasts or what, I like to have notes. With this, considering the fact that it's supposed to be more of a laid back, relaxed style of interview or whatnot, I'm going into this thing blindly. I have no prep or whatnot. I know you have a talking point. We're just going to start with that. We're going to go from there. We're just going to ramble like what I would always want.
Yeah, and as you put very bluntly in the DMs with me, you were saying that I'm basically carrying the majority of this with having the idea and all that stuff, but
at least with this first episode.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, because obviously this is it's not, Get Connected with Iris and also Nathan. It's Iris and Nathan. We're sharing this thing together. So like, there might be episodes where I carry a little bit more, or I get to talk a little bit more. But like for this one, this is your little baby. It's our baby, but this is mainly your baby. I want you to mold. This is your little clay piece. I want you to mold it how you want it to.
Oh, come on. Yeah, the this is Get Connected with Iris, and I guess Nathan's here too. Uh, and I was
With
gonna,
Iris and this freak in the corner over here.
oh yeah, and the skeleton, Iris and the skeleton.
Oh
The
yeah, of course.
yeah, the most
How could
important
I?
member included in
How
our
could I?
thumbnail.
How can I forget Clyde?
We love Clyde around these parts.
Yes, we do. Say hi, Clyde.
Oh my God, hello. Oh my
You know, if
goodness,
I had,
I'm waving right
if
now.
I,
I'm a still image.
if I had a nickel for every time I had Clyde in a thumbnail this week, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't much, but it's weird that's happened more than in multiple times.
It's all coming together, and soon, Clyde will take over the podcast as a whole. It'll just be Get Connected with Clyde.
Oh, I was gonna say with Iris and Clyde because in that case I could just be like, all right, there you go.
It's just two skeletons, and they're both Clyde, and they're standing right next to each other and just doing the podcast. But they don't talk; they just chatter for a little bit. You like that? Good pun. I'm funny. Comedian, by the way, online and VTuber. Um,
I hope you're recording right now because this
oh,
would be
I
a great
am.
little bit.
I,
Oh, good, perfect.
yeah, I know how you like to do it, and I've started doing it as well with my, at least my offline interviews, because you never know what people are going to say
Exactly.
and whatever comes out of that situation. And with that being said, I don't have the grandeur of the Postmodern Art podcast by Nathan Ragland. Welcome, everybody, to the first ever podcast of Get Connected with Iris and Nathan, the show where we get connected about topics that maybe one person knows but the other isn't so well versed on. I'm Iris.
And I'm Nathan. How is everyone doing today? Well, I guess it's just 2 of us today.
Yeah, it's just the two of us.
Now.
Don't worry, I'll show my mom this episode, and we'll have a chat with her afterwards. I guess not on the podcast.
I mean, I think having your mom on the podcast would be like us bringing our moms, like our collective moms, on an episode of this little thing would be a fun thing to do at some point.
Yeah, we'll
Just
see. We'll see. There's the world's our oyster with this.
I think part of the fun would be trying to teach them how exactly Discord works.
Yeah. Like I was gonna say this earlier when you were mentioning like your pilot episode of your podcast.
Yes.
Doesn't it seem so weird now that like all of the stuff that's second nature and automatic was something that you struggled with so much when you started?
Oh
Like,
my goodness, absolutely.
I don't realize it until I try to teach people how to use OBS. I'm like, oh yeah, you do the thing with the thing and this. Oh wow, there's a lot of stuff that happened.
It's like you don't realize. All right, so this is okay. Fun little story, fun little tangent or whatnot. I recently had to teach, well, not recently, but a while ago, I had to teach a former one-hit wonder, like music one-hit wonder, how to use OBS to record Discord. For context, I previously had Asher Roth on the podcast, on my podcast at one point. I Love College was like the big, fairly decent sized hit that, probably still plays at colleges or whatnot. I had interviewed him for the podcast, and then a while after, he just messaged me. He's like, "Hey, we're thinking of doing this thing for like an album rollout or whatnot. We want to do like little in-person interviews. How exactly do you use OBS?" I'm like, "Let's hop in a call. I'll teach you how to do it."
So you inadvertently had a hand in all of that.
in a way, at least when it comes to the album rollout that for the current thing or whatnot, I haven't even kept up with him that much, to be honest with you.
Hey, maybe after this episode you can check in, make sure everything went well. I mean, I'm
Yeah,
assuming it went perfectly because you were on the other end doing OBS. So
as best as I could,
Hey, well, fun fact: this episode is being recorded in one of the weirdest ways possible. Although, in this particular context, it may just be you on the screen on the other end, because I don't actually have my own, model moving. But I'm recording in 3840 by 1080p, which is double the 1920 resolution, so that I can record at full resolution essentially 2 versions of the same video and then move them together in editing.
I'm sorry, my brain hurt halfway through you saying that.
In the most broad sense, instead of recording two separate instances of OBS, so like one of your face and then one of mine, or like having the both of us squashed on the screen, I can be more picky and choosy in editing, just cut the video down straight the center and have access to a full quality image for the both of us. So I've been doing that recently with a lot of the videos that I have been doing. So
I've noticed that. I've noticed that at least with the interviews. But I was gonna say at the end of the day, hey, this is. I believe this episode's gonna be one of the ones you're editing. So yeah, edit however you want.
yeah,
You'll know
yeah,
it's one
thanks
of my.
post.
I was gonna say you'll know it's probably one of my episodes because it'll probably be a little bit more. How should I word this? Laid back when it comes to the editing style. Uh,
Yeah, I'll have to remember. Like, we'll have to keep up on that. If like you're the one editing, you just tell me your specifications. I have my own, of
mhm.
course. That way, I don't send you a 3840 or whatever the heck I just said by 1080p, and then you're confused about how to actually put that into the program. So
All I would really just be doing is probably just doing the same thing I usually do. Screen share. I might get to where it's zoomed in more on me and zoomed in more on you, whatnot. So it's a little bit more of your style. Get that nice little blend or whatnot. So
oh yeah, and I was trying to think of a way to segue with blenders. Speaking of blenders, of course, not the topic of today's episode, but our topic today is your inside voice, and I'm not
Mhm.
talking about being quiet in the house, and I'm not talking about the voices in your head like the popular "Falling in Reverse" song. I'm talking about the voice that speaks to you whenever you make a conscious decision, whether that's positively or negatively. And I've been
Mm.
thinking about that a lot. But before we get started, Nathan, how was your week? How was the life of the post mod art pod creator?
Okay, it's been a very interesting week. Do I want to include the weekend beforehand or not?
That's for you to
I'll include.
decide. 7 days.
I'll include beforehand. So for context, we're recording this on a Friday night. So for context, like the previous weekend, really good. On Saturday, I went to watch Deadpool Wolverine with my girlfriend Christine. Had a fantastic time with that. Watched SummerSlam afterwards. Was kind of lazy on Sunday. Actually, not fully lazy because I did record an episode of the podcast with a person out in Uganda, which is a very interesting experience.
Right,
Um,
yes.
and then I get to work on Monday and I instantly regret getting to work. So, for context, for people that don't know, I work in a warehouse with a company that's known for like tractors and construction equipment. So like excavators, skid steers, all stuff like that. And the week has gradually become more and more busy to the point to where, as of today, I was told to come in an hour early until further notice, and it's been probably gonna be 10-hour work days for the near future at the very least.
Oh my god.
Uh, yeah, because it was a point to where like we were so slow, and because we were so slow, people were getting fired. But now that we're picking up, we have a low employee count, so a lot of people have to shoulder a lot of work or whatnot. And yeah, very very interesting on that front. And on top of all that, yesterday I went to the doctor, so interesting to hear how my body is.
Yeah, yeah. Is everything okay?
No, I mean it was my yearly physical. It wasn't a bad trip to the doctor. Although when I went there, I asked, and I'm gonna get an uppage of my dosage of my antidepressants, Lexapro, because again, mental state has been kind of not as bad as I was before I started taking Lexapro, but
Mhm.
eh. And then they're concerned about my liver. It's not like, oh god, we need to do work immediately, but it's like it might be getting a little fatty. We're gonna, set you up for an ultrasound next week. We're gonna take a look at it, see if you need to do something different with your diet, maybe something with like cholesterol or whatnot, all this kind of stuff. Overall, good trip.
Okay.
So,
Okay. I'm glad to hear
but
it. Glad to hear it.
that's been my past week, and then at the time of recording this, tomorrow I'm gonna be heading down to close to where my aunt is because she's been in the hospital for the past couple weeks. Um, That one's not as good. It's one of those a whole entire myriad of stuff. But my uncle came over from Texas, so I'll get a chance to see him for the first time in years.
Hell yeah. It's like a hell no and a hell yeah situation all the
I,
same,
I
but
I will say, like, my aunt, since all this stuff went down, has been gradually doing a lot better. Like, it's to the point to where, like, when she went into the hospital, she had to be put on like all sorts of different tubes or whatnot, like breathing and basic essentials. It's to the point to where all she needs at this point is like a feeding tube, and is starting to be a little bit more conscious and all stuff like that. So yeah.
okay.
But with that, how was your week, Iris?
Slams whole face and hands on table all at the same time,
Yeah.
emoting for the
Yeah.
audience today. Wow, I had a really bad week. I'm not gonna lie.
I can only imagine. Go on,
Yeah,
please.
so the full week, so like the full 7 days from this Friday to the last, which by the way, I think I'm gonna be uploading this like we record and then the next Friday I'll upload it.
Okay.
That's the whole full plan if everything goes according to plan.
Everything goes according to plan.
Yeah.
We already got the thumbnail in, so that's a
Yeah,
positive.
we've got to start. We've got to start. So we hired this new fella, and he had been there for a few weeks. And for those that don't know, and maybe Post doesn't know this either, Nathan doesn't know this either. God, it'll be really hard for me to remember.
You know how I am. I'm comfortable with either or. I know you mean Nathan whenever you say post.
Yeah, it's the blending of the two worlds. Um,
Exactly.
I work in a retirement home. I am
Hmm.
essentially the dietitian, not like in the sense that I keep track of everybody's calorie intakes and all of that stuff. I just cook for these old folks at this home, and I do that for 42 hours a week, 3 days of which are 12-hour shifts, so very long. And then one of them is a 6-hour shift just to get me into the groove. And we hired this new dishwasher because our last one, he was leaving to go back to school, and
Okay.
this new fella seemed really promising. And this was 2 weeks ago. And then we fast forward to this last Friday, and everything just seemed to start going really downhill very fast.
Mm,
He was very sluggish and like plating things wrong, putting the tops on the plates before we served them out, before I even had any food on them. So they were empty plates. And I was like, well, shit, this kind of sucks, but I'll do my best. I used to be a manager, so I'll use my managerial skills to try to push him in the right direction. And we go
right.
to Saturday, and it gets even worse. Things are dirtier and not as clean, and we're still slow, and things aren't getting plated correctly. But this time I was on top of it, so I was able to make sure that we got everything in the best condition that we. And then
Okay.
and then Sunday happened.
Oh no. Oh
um,
no.
so we have a very small kitchen and
Right.
a very very prominent back door, and we lock it at the end of every night. And not only did I walk into it Sunday morning with it being unlocked, it was entirely open, both the
Oh.
screen and the door. Um, and it was terrifying because I didn't know if someone came into the kitchen. I didn't know if someone stole stuff. I didn't know if there's
Right.
like animals in there, like a rat might have snuck in. So all of these things are rushing through my head on top of it was a mess in there, dirty dishes everywhere. It was awful. Um, and we got it handled, got it taken care of. I let all of the bugs out, even though I'm terrified of bugs. And
Ironic, but go on.
don't worry about it. So I called my boss. I sent her
Hmm.
all of the images that we needed to, and she was coming in anyways because she wanted to just check on things. So she had a
Right.
discussion with him, and he was very, very defensive. Like, I don't think I've ever
Mm.
met anybody as defensive as this person before. He recycled the same three arguments for like 30 straight minutes. And meanwhile, the dishes were piling up. It just kept happening and happening. And it's a repeat after that of this last 2 days. But he goes to lunch at like 2:30 in the afternoon. and I have to go looking for him at like 3:50. So like an hour and a half has
Good
passed by.
lord.
Yeah. And I find him asleep in the break room, and I wake him up, and I'm like, "Hey man, you good? Like, is everything okay?" And he like looks at me and he like nods and he's stretching. He's about to stand up, and I'm like, "Okay, I'm gonna go. Like, I'm gonna prep things really fast. Don't worry." And he doesn't come back until like 4:25. So it took him another 40 minutes after I woke him up to come back. Um, and then he got fired that night. He was
There you go.
he was absolutely greened out, like fully high on something. We don't know exactly what. So yeah, that's like the highlight of my week. And the rest of this week has me just been relaxing, trying to get it off the mind, and playing a
Right.
bunch of different video games. I found one that I really enjoy, Peripetia. We'll remember that name for sure. And I've just been playing Zenless Zone Zero for the most part, just to get into the grind of things. So yeah,
Talk about a hell of a week. The thing is, like, you're talking more about that employee, and it reminds me of an employee that I have on where I work at or whatnot, but slack dick for different reasons, to put it bluntly. Um,
damn, you do that there, like.
no, no. I said slack dick.
Oh, I
Slack
see.
dick.
Not slap dick. Okay, I get you.
No, this isn't the Pornhub version of slapstick comedy, okay?
I thought everything like outside of where I work was basically Dick Fight Island, right?
I Dick Fight Island. Okay, this is gonna be interesting. I'm already loving this experience. Let's go.
Yeah, take that swig. You're gonna need it.
I gotta get ready for Dick Fight Island.
Yeah, I can't wait for that episode when we both collectively read and discuss Dick Fight Island. It'll be on Connected with Iris and Nathan after dark.
That I'll say that'll be on the Patreon when we get that set up
Yeah,
eventually.
eventually, one of these days.
Oh goodness, I think that would be the most disconnected episode of Get Connected.
So you were saying the Slack Dick, you had
Yes,
a
no,
very similar experience.
it's not had the experience, having the experience,
Oh yes.
because this employee it baffles me how he's been able to be here for so long, because all he is just basically a glorified janitor. That's basically what his job is, but yet, like, he'll take forever with like breaks and meals. There were times in the past where he'd be like falling asleep on like forklifts and like cleaning machines
Oh,
and stuff.
wonderful.
Yeah. In fact, today I think he got into a verbal argument with one of the other employees and had to be sent home early. So I'm hoping that's the final straw. But the place I work at, I like to say that people are they're either fired within like a month or they're hired on 5 years too long. Um, but that's above my pay grade at this point. I'm happy where I if I
Definitely.
re- tr- trust me, if I really wanted to, and I mean if I really wanted to, I could be a lead, because they've asked me several times over, "Hey, you should be a lead. You'd be a really good lead." No,
No.
no, I would not. I do not want to deal with the personalities. I do not want to deal with the drama. I don't want to deal with being a scapegoat when something goes wrong. Like, I tunnel vision. Let me pick. Let me load trucks. Let me go home.
Yeah, and I've also managed. I mentioned that before. I used to be a supervisor, and I totally
Mhm.
get it, because not only are you fighting against your employees, well, at least you're trying to support them in any way that you can, but you're
Right.
also fighting against management. Like, not
Exactly.
the people above you. I have so many expectations, but suddenly when you're in that place of power, it's like they don't listen to you nearly as much. Um, and I have watched it happen, and I have experienced it, and uh, as they say, when you go to work in a place, you're not really hating the job. You're typically hating the management above you, the
Yeah.
boss in that case. So
I'll say that's the thing. There have been times where I've had some of my coworkers being like irritated or like, yeah, I think irritated is the best way to word it with like our supervisor because it seems like it's how should I word this? Like it almost seems like they're too busy with something else or they're complaining about things like over and over again. And I always have to remind them, keep in mind that like our supervisor is not only having to deal with us, also has to deal with the leads, also has to deal with people above her that's like telling her, hey, it needs to be done a certain way. Hey, you need to do this, dealing with like they're juggling like 20 different tasks at once. So like I'm sorry that they may not seem ideal in the moment, but they got their job to do just like we got our job to do.
yep, and that's all you can do at the end of the day. Uh, well, speaking of another segue that has absolutely nothing to do with anything, our topic. This is a topic that I picked specifically.
Correct.
The inside voices, and I
Hmm.
thought about this right away because when I told you about it, I was actually having an inside voices moment, and I still am. Um, and I'm curious what your experience is with your own inside voice, that little cricket on your shoulder, or in a different case, maybe that the reasoning that you have when you're deciding to do something. Because when you approach something in your work environment, it's kind of one dimensional, or maybe a
Right.
little bit two dimensional. This is my job, and I have to do it, and I can be frustrated with it, but I do get paid. It's got to be
Yep.
done at the end of the day. Um,
Exactly.
so for me, it's very easy. I've been cooking for nearly 10 years at this point. It's very automatic for me. But when I come home and I want to do creative stuff, because I'm thinking so much, I typically run into the scenario of that voice coming out. So my
Hmm.
voice is usually a negative one for myself. And it usually comes in the form of, I actually have a very good example. I have had to
Okay.
record something for the last like 2 or 3 weeks. It will literally take only an hour and a half to do because it's just
Yep.
B-roll footage. I don't have to say anything. I just got to do like gameplay. That's it. But in my head, I think to myself, my thing is not going to be worth it. So I put it off. And I run into this scenario way, way too often. And I have identified that it's not necessarily burnout because I don't have anything to be burnt out about because I take plenty of breaks. I play video games. I do all these other things that I can separate myself very well. And I have a great schedule for it. But I always stop myself short when I'm about to do the thing that I know is important to me because I want to do video essays. That's like one of the things that I want to try out. Um,
Okay.
it's so frustrating to argue with myself sometimes. Um, and see, this week it wasn't a situation of like um, nobody will watch my video. It was a situation of, oh well, you dealt with a very annoying employee, so you might as well just play video games and
Mhm.
do this and that and this and that and this and that and that. SpongeBob motif. Um,
Yep. This and that, this that, and then nothing.
And I know as a fellow creative, you do podcasting as well, and you've talked to me about it a couple times in terms of like getting the guests and as far as your
Yep.
growth. But Nathan, for you, what is something that like your inside voice stops you from doing?
Just about everything else.
I
So,
wake up, I work, I podcast. That's all I have time for.
well, it's not even that. It's like, oh my goodness, I could go into so many different things when it comes to like what my voice is telling me or what my voice is telling me not to do. Because so like when it comes to just simply if we're talking about simply a creative front, it's one of those like I have wanted so badly to try to put myself into other different ventures and do so many other different things. Keep in mind, I went to school for filmmaking, so like maybe writing scripts or making some sort of short film or something along the lines of that. That'd be kind of cool to do. Or like hey, know whenever I appeared on Poison Points, I think it was Poison Points, or was it Double Dose? One of the two times I came
It
on
was
to
poison points.
your.
Yeah.
Well, I was gonna say I had mentioned wanting to do. No, I think it was Double Dose because I mentioned because we were talking about podcasts or whatnot, and I had mentioned that
Oh,
like
right.
I wanted to, I had this idea for like a fun little like narrative based podcast I'd like to do. I haven't done any leeway on trying to get that thing started more than anything else. Cause like, I guess it's in a similar sense with like what you're talking about. You know, I get up, I go to work, I go home, and it's like, okay, I got all this stuff I could potentially be doing. But it's so easy just to turn on the TV, turn on the PlayStation, and just mindlessly play whatever simulation sports game you have loaded up right there
Mm.
at the ready. It's like, it's so simple to just do that, lay down the bed. In fact, that my bed is what I sit on. Um, yeah, that's a big secret that I'm revealing to the world right now. I don't have a chair for this stuff.
Oh my
I
god.
have a bed.
You could fall asleep right now if you wanted to.
I could. It's like you can kind of see it right there. Yeah, I could fall asleep right there. Um, oh jeez, now I just messed up my entire. Like literally, I could just flop back and just. Oh, ow.
All right, welcome to Get Connected with Iris. Host has
More
perished.
I'll say more like get connected to the hospital.
Call 911.
Definitely leave that in. Anyways, no, but back to the conversation. Like I mean, hell, like even speaking, like when I was talking about like college, that's another thing that the little voice in me has made me like second think about. I still need to finish up college, Iris. I I still have 15 hours of classes left. One semester's worth of classes left. I could do like a class a semester. It's just that mental, because like especially like because the voice, especially when it comes to like that little bit in particular, when it comes to college, I think that's when my voice is like the strongest. When it wants to
Mhm.
do something, when I personally want to do something productive, but like mentally, I'm just like,
The creative sigh, we'll call it. We're coining it that right now.
yeah, the creative sigh. There you go. Because it's like again, I think it's also like partially based on like my situation. So like going back to the college point, like you could just sign up for classes like this fall or this spring or whatnot. Your mom's been bugging you about it. Dad subtly hits at it here and there, but it's no big deal. Like you could totally get it done. Like you're in a much better mind space than you were when you were last in college. And then the creative mind in me, or like the little voice in me, is like, but what if you fail again? Like what if you fall back in that pattern that you kind of were at the tail end right there, to where like you get excited, you get going at first, but then like halfway through you just lose all motivation to do any little bit of it whatsoever, and you end up with another failing grade and more student loans added onto you. You're already paying enough for student loans as is, and why stress about it? Because you're in a good situation. You're living with your dad right now, not paying any rent whatsoever. So it's like, why put more onto yourself than what you need? Like you're in a good space right now. I think that's what it is at the end of the day, that little voice. It's like, why put more on yourself? You're comfortable. Why ruin that comfort?
Mhm. The what is it called? There's a word for this. Content.
Content.
You
There
are
you go. Yes.
content with it.
Yes. You're content right here. Why try to do anything more? I mean, I
It's
I imagine you probably feel similar in some sense.
Yeah, I mean not quite the college way, because
Right.
I took 2 weeks of college and then I had to drop
Oh,
out due to unfortunate circumstances. Um,
right.
Otherwise I would have still gone, but that's a chapter of my life that I'm not like fully invested into.
Right. But
But
I was gonna say not even like the college sense. Like we can take the college part out of it. That's just my
Mhm.
situation in particular. I'm just talking about like you in particular, like with your life. There are parts of your life where you're just content as is, and you don't really want to shake things up as is. Like you're comfortable.
Yeah, I could sit here and work my 42-hour weeks, and I've actually proven it to myself that like I can live the day to day, just enjoy my
Mm.
weekends and have fun, play video games, but I also know, like, the part of me that understands where I want to be is that I don't want to be working a day job. I don't want to
Mm-hmm.
the blue collar work. I would rather
Right.
do my own job, be my own boss, take care of my own expenses, and create things. Allow my mind to pour onto the proverbial canvas, which is VTubing and content creation. Um, and it's always the weirdest because even though I know that I can, and I have proven it with this particular example I gave at the beginning,
Right.
because my video that I made the first time on Sly Cooper didn't fail. It actually exceeded my expectations.
Oh
But
yeah.
despite that, I stress all of the time about it, and then that stress allows me to not get it done, which is so
Right.
frustrating.
I
It's like,
I
please.
I can understand where you're coming from. At least when it comes to me, when it comes to content, I've gotten into that headspace to where the only reason why I would consider that'd be kind of a lie, because there are episodes that I release, there's stuff that I released where if it doesn't get like X amount of views, and I'm not saying it has to be like a dramatic amount, like if this thing does not get 100,000 views, is a failure. Like, no, I'm not at that point yet. I am nowhere close to that point yet. But like, there are episodes where I release, and I'm like, it didn't even hit like 20 views. Like, what's wrong? Did I promote it wrong? Like, did something happen with that one? And it makes me hesitant, to be proud of that episode, even though, like, for me, I am more proud when it comes to my content of just like the content of them than the audience reaction of them, if that makes sense. Like, I'm always a person that's going to love like the conversations I've had with the people more than how many people also enjoy that conversation. Although the more people that watch it, the more I enjoy it. Please subscribe to the Postmodern Art Podcast, podcast dedicated to giving art show around the world over the platform they deserve. Um,
I'll subtitle that. If for viewers at home, I'll subtitle that. I'll smash together in one sentence.
it'd be like that freaking Gambit meme that's been going around and whatnot. Ooh, I'm gonna make a name for myself today. um, what was I gonna say? Oh, but like, I think the little voice in me, it like when it comes to the interviews themselves, like I have my expectations of them,
Mhm.
and my expectations are more or less like the the conversation themselves. Like, if I enjoyed the conversation, I do not care how many views that episode gets. It is a good ass conversation. But it has also kind of inhibited me from trying to do other kinds of content and other kinds of stuff with the podcast or whatnot. Um, one of the things that you did, in fact, it's still your icon picture to this point, is Google Trendy. And
Mhm.
it's something that I enjoy. It's fun to do here and there, but it doesn't really get a whole lot of views, more or less. I'm currently sitting on 2 episodes that I've been meaning to edit together for the longest time. And again, that little voice in me is just kind of one of those, eh.
Mhm. Yeah. The creative sigh.
The creative side, just that little bit of just like, no one's really missing this. Like, you'll eventually get to it at some point. Like, I know that like the motivation will just like kick in when I least expect it or whatnot, but like, also I wish it would just kick in a little sooner, because like I had fun recording this stuff and I want people to see it. I'm just, I don't know if it's partially because of, again, my mental, which is why I'm upping my dosage on my Lexapro, or if it's just how exhausted I've been because of work and such. It's a combination. I don't know why my voice wants to be difficult. I don't know why my brain wants to be like, "Eh,"
Yeah.
but it is what it is.
Do you ever find yourself having conscious arguments with that voice? Because like, we say the voice
Hmm.
like it's a separate entity, but it really is just us. It's the part of us
Yes.
that wants to remain comfortable and enjoy what we do have at the moment instead of taking risks. But
Hmm.
do you find yourself arguing at any point and just saying like, yes, I could do this, but if I get this done, I know I will be satisfied.
Every single time I need to sit down and edit the podcast, every single time I sit down and have to edit the podcast. Because, like, again, I have said it before, very simple, very straightforward, very laid back approach when it comes to the podcast. Get the main conversation in there, edit it, chop up some of the fat or whatnot. Intro that I've recorded beforehand, as well as a little anime one, outro sequence or whatnot, add little visuals if need be. It is a very simple process, but every single time I need to edit, my brain is just like, you'll need to edit right now. Like, it's not that big of a deal. You can get that done easily. And I have to fight myself being like, no, let me take care of this now. Get it done. Get it out of the way. Like, I'm being a little over dramatic. It's not every single episode, but it's more episodes than not. All right. Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, I was gonna say, I imagine for you, it's like, you were telling me with like getting the B-roll one. How many times have you argued with yourself? Like, it's super easy. Like, I could just do this.
Yeah, at least at this point, 8 times. It has been 8 consecutive days where, because I've decided for myself that I'm not going to do any work creatively on my work days, because that is 12 hours coming home to not being able to see anybody that I love and cherish. To just go into the mines was a little bit too much. So I'm like, okay, Tuesday, part of Wednesday, all of Thursday, I will dedicate as much time as I can to it. Because a lot of people are either away at work, away doing other things, so nobody's around. It's just me, and I should be able to do it. And nope, I've put it off hour by hour, and that's just how it turns, baby.
Yeah.
But I know that once I do it, it'll be a huge relief off of me.
Right. Which is the thing that's like so infuriating about that creator Sigh, because you know deep down in the back of your head, it's gonna be so much relief when you finally stop procrastinating and you just get that shit done. But your brain still wants to be like, just a little long, just 5 minutes, 5 minutes or five weeks,
Oh my goodness, one of your favorite content creators just uploaded. You might as well go watch them really fast. It's only 15 minutes.
A different story. That's a different story, though. No.
You can't take that away from me.
No, but then 15 minutes becomes, another 15 minutes because like a very similar creator or that same creator has a different video that comes into your autoplay, and all of a sudden there's like the hour long like best of or like the compilation video or whatnot that comes in after. Yeah, I've gone down that spiral many times.
My weakness is best moments of Gumball Part 55, and like I've never watched Gumball or anything like that, but I know a lot of the gags that happen now because it's, out of context or the best jokes, and why am I doing this to myself?
My weakness, there are 3 people that are my exact weakness, and then recently there's been a 4th one that's cropped up. But best of Blarg, best of Smitty, and anything by Russian Badger.
That's a classic one, though.
Exactly. Like, especially like for example, the other day, the Russian Badger released a new video based on Helldivers 2. I've already seen that video at least 5 times.
Mm-hmm.
It's like an hour 15 minutes long.
That's an hour and 15 minutes I need to time slot into my day right now.
But you see, the thing is, like, sometimes when I'm watching videos, like, it's either like I'm watching, like, the first time I was definitely watching it to watch it, but like every time after, it's like I'm watching it as like background noise for stuff, or I'm watching it while I'm pulling up my phone and watching TikTok.
Yep. You're multitasking that procrastination right there.
Exactly. It's like that little oh my god, that little voice just being like, "Hey, don't break your streak with your girlfriend on TikTok." Fuck.
Every Sunday and Monday for me with Pinch.
Oh no, like, oh my god, I I have to be careful because like the streak is like one of the things that me and Christine like just cherish, like that we just love just for shits and giggles or whatnot. We at one point had like a 50-day streak that I fucked up. Like the one day we went out on a date. We went out on a date for like a wrestling show or whatnot, and I forgot that day because I was like a potato before the date, and then I was invested during the date. And I dropped the streak, Iris. I dropped the streak.
Hello, everybody on the internet. Please publicly shame Nathan for dropping the streak.
How dare I drop the TikTok streak after 50 days?
Damn, those gamer subs really doing a number on you right now.
Gamer subs, use code. We
Yeah,
don't have a code yet.
We'll put it right there. We'll re-upload this episode later, the gamer subs edition, and it'll be perfect.
The instant I get some gamer subs flavor of some sort, that's when I know I've made it. That's when I know I've made it. Like as a content creator.
100%. So going back to the arguments with yourself, like the conscious one, the one that I have made with myself several times is actually not in relation to my first example. Because believe it or not, I'm sitting on like at the very least probably 12 videos that I could be editing and uploading. I have 2 of the happy hours, so my game show that I did that you were a part of.
Yes,
I've decided that it deserves the most editing out of anything that I've done. For some reason, I don't know. I'm wild. So I have 2 of those, which are at least like 3.5 hours long. They were pretty long endeavors. And then I have a couple interviews that I have to splice together. I have like a thing that I did with Chance Nesdemy a long time ago that I could make like 5 more videos out of. And then I have a thing that I was doing with Lily Leviathan with Stretcher Men. And I told myself that I would do it. I would do all of these things because for those that also don't know, and I'm not really going to be a stranger to this because this is the podcast for being open. And yes. I'm not being my VTuber self here. I'm just being Iris.
You are being Iris, as true as you want to present when it comes to Iris.
Yeah. And it turns out that Iris is 2 people. I run my channel. One of my channels that I've had is my first VTuber concept, which is Just Irisu. Follow me at Just Irisu on YouTube and pretty much everywhere else. And then on top of that, I am also a VTuber by the name of Loot the Merchant, a spider VTuber. And I've told myself that I would do both because I have a lot of ideas that don't mesh well together, so I need to separate it. You can judge all you wish, those at home. Most people would just stick to the one, but I am crazy and insane. And it's weird because it's not really like 2 separate sets of arguments, but because I play 2 different characters up and I have to be in character sometimes, my arguments do change based on who I'm editing for and who I'm going to be playing up for the day. So the Loot side is usually the easiest because Loot is silly and goofy, and I don't really have to think about what I do. I just have to be funny. Which, by the way, thinking like that has been a huge boon because now I'm not worrying about what my audience might think of me. I just want to have a good time. And then on the other spectrum, Irisu is my serious version, and I have the most arguments with myself there because I tackle controversial things. I talk about things that wouldn't really see talked about in the VTuber sphere because of fear of being shamed, or you don't want a VTuber agency to look at you strangely. So I have to wrestle with those thoughts and pick and choose way more specifically, which tends to run into those problems of, do I upload this video today? I let out the creative sigh. If I do it now, will it be too late? Will it be too soon? Will I have all the information I need? And it's kind of nice. I think those conversations I have with myself when it comes to that are a little bit nicer because at least I'm thinking about it and putting the conscious effort in. But then other times it's like, just upload the damn video. Like, just get it done, please. So
Look,
I can be happy for the week.
I was say, look, that second half mentality, or like just upload the video or just put it out there, whatnot. That's basically my mentality with the podcast itself. Because I I'm different when it comes to how you have it set up. Because like for me, I personally made myself deadlines. I personally made it to where I need to make sure this episode gets released just about every single Thursday, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, unless it's like a special event like an Indie Animation Day or something along the lines of that. Like that is like the goal. Like if I don't get an episode out by then for those dates, I'm disappointed in myself. Like just more than anything else.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the fact that I set the deadlines up for those where those have to be done makes that creator voice in me not as strong as like the bonus content, like the Google Trendy, to where it's like you could just upload that whenever you want. Like if there's like a slow week or whatnot, if you're not planning on releasing an episode at that time, you can just shove that in, toss it out there in the world, and it'll be fine. It's no big deal. Like I think that's when the creator voice is a little bit stronger, when I don't have a deadline set for myself, when I
Mm-hmm.
don't limit, if I don't set like an expectation for myself beforehand to where like it needs to be at this date, or I need to push this up to this kind of thing. Like I imagine for you it's more of a quality over quantity kind of thing.
Sort of, because like, it's really weird. It's so hard
Mm-hmm.
to explain because I do so many different spheres of content.
Right.
Because Poison Points requires the least amount of editing. I chop off the beginning, I chop off the end, and I tend to find myself leaving everything in between because those interview podcasts are very to the point. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I would much rather a like the derail still make it into the episode. Um,
Exactly.
Even if it doesn't like pertain to, well, I mean it does, it will always pertain to the person that I interview, so it's like
Yeah.
not that big a deal. um but like the game show, for example, the 3.5 hours, we had a lot of like side discussion that didn't pertain to it, and I want to condense it as much as I can to make it a viewable product on YouTube. So that requires a lot more effort. And then there are things that I do that require some research on people and topics. Like
Right.
my video on Fillion required research. My video on the Lola stuff required research. Um, Even my video on the TikToks that I did, the cooking TikToks, which, by the way, really good video. You should check it out. Self plug at Just Irisu. Um,
I'll say at this point, like when have we not self-plugged every opportunity that we get?
this is
We're
our
still
show.
caught. I'll say we're this is our show. I'll say we're still content creators at the end of the day, Iris. We're still gonna like promote ourselves every opportunity that we get. That's just our curse.
Mhm. But that video in particular was like, you would think it would be easy to watch a couple TikToks and then upload it,
Mm,
but well, I decided I wanted to do some comedic timing. I wanted to make sure that it flowed nicely and was easy to digest. So that requires
right.
its own set of work. I honestly think my easiest to edit videos are my controversy videos, because I just
Ooh.
start to finish talk and I can get it done in 30 minutes of recording, and that's all I need. Um, but sorry,
That's
to,
fair.
to go back into it. Um, as far as the way that I structure things, I do need a schedule, but my schedule has to be flexible,
Yeah.
because that is what I know starts my burnout, is when I say I'm going to upload this by Friday. Okay, well, shit,
Hmm.
Friday has come and gone, and I start to feel guilty. That guilt
Yeah.
compounds and
Yep.
compounds, and then I can't do the other
Yep.
thing, and it gets worse and worse and worse and worse. And
Yes.
all I have to do,
Yes.
all I really have to do is slow down. Let's get this thing done. Okay, we
Yep.
finished it. Get this next thing done. Cool. I finished that. And then I clear the schedule, and I can think to myself, let's reset, let's try it again. Um, is God
I
motherfucking
mean,
damn.
God, God, motherfucking damn. No, I was gonna say, See, that right there is what you're talking about. That's why I failed college.
Real.
Because it's like, all right, you have this assignment, you have to do it by this date. All right, let's get it done. And then you procrastinate, and you get past that date. Oh fuck, I don't have shit ready for it. Fuck. Oh, the date's just going further away. Oh god. Oh no. Where's it going? Oh god, you're losing everything. Oh, there's an F.
Yep. Oh, I can still hear its voice on the wind.
Yep. Yep.
Hey, but all of this being said, and I don't mean to cut you off, it's just important to say, especially with the topic that we're broaching, because these are problems that we have. These are issues that we tackle both as people and as creatives. I think it's important to distinguish that one is like what we put passion towards, and the other is our personal lives and where we want to be. And again, that's a huge difference. There's a huge difference between the two, and sometimes there is no correct answer.
Exactly.
The answer is just we gotta wrestle with ourselves, and then we do it, and we know every time we gotta drill it into our silly little brains that it is worth it. And it's as simple as that. There's no like crazy philosophical evidence or like advice to give. It's just do it.
We're not here to tell you how to defeat that voice. We're just saying, hey, we notice these voices. Let's talk about them.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, sorry, you go ahead.
No. All I will say on that is it's better to like be aware of that voice and like understand it, because then you can talk to it, right? You can talk back, and that in itself is the answer. But to deny it and like try to like hide from it is kind of an unhealthy mentality, unless you can do that somehow, which I suppose some people can. But
I mean, to be fair, I'm pretty sure everyone struggles with that voice in one way or another. It may not be as prominently as a voice like we're making it out to be, but like everyone has that like little struggle, that little thing in their brain that's just straight up like, again, the creator sigh. So if I may, Iris, I want to kind of flip the conversation a little bit and give it more of a positive light, if I can. So I'm curious for you. I have my answer, but I'm curious for you. When is that voice, that creator sigh, when is it the weakest for you? When is it easy for you to just kind of say, screw it, I can take care of this easily? Like there's no doubt in my mind. Like when is it the weakest for you?
It's got to be when I'm like hyper fixated on a topic.
There you go.
Because, and I've not had this diagnosed. I'm curious myself, but it's something that I do think about. I'm more than likely, like at least 98% sure, have ADHD, or some attention disorder, and the other half of it, the one that I'm less sure of but still positive, is I might have a form of autism. And so I get the hyperfixation really, 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 really bad. And then that hyperfixation goes away after a while because now I'm focused on something else. And it just happens to be that case. So if I happen to catch myself at a good time, like something like this, for example, and I'm like really excited that we're doing this podcast, I could go after this, upload it or edit it together, upload it, and get it ready for next Friday, and I would be perfectly content. But I don't know if next Friday, not that I wouldn't enjoy what we're talking about, but I might have something else on the brain. So that's what it's my strongest.
And those episodes are the ones that you're gonna hand to me and tell me to edit.
Yep, pretty much. But I would say if I would have to say it's when my hyperfixation is at its strongest point, is when that voice is the weakest. It'll say, hey, maybe you should wait. And I say, no, I'm doing it right now. I'm getting it done because this is so cool and I'm laughing right now. I'm having a good time and I want to feel that.
It's literally like that Great Gatsby musical meme or whatnot. But sir, it's 7 a.m. Today's the day.
We're doing it right now. But yeah, for me, I like, and there's other moments too, because I had a hyperfixation stint for Sly Cooper because
Mm-hmm.
I did a charity event for Murray Must Die, where I killed Murray
Mm-hmm.
as fast as I could in Sly Cooper 1, and I had a blast doing it. And I did that for like 30 days straight. That was the longest I've ever been hyperfixated on something. And by the
Wow.
time I uploaded the video, like, yeah, I was a little like, okay, I'm done with Sly for right now. I need to take a break from it. Um, but from start to finish, writing the script, getting the B-roll, I was so into it. And I think it shows in the video. And I'm very, very proud of it. And again, the results speak for themselves. I'm just cresting into that 2,300 views mark,
There
which
you go.
I'm very excited about. And I know that if I do the next one that I want to do, it'll hit traction as well, and I will probably get somewhere with it. I don't want to keep my hopes too high because then you'll get disappointed. But or I guess not you. Just as a generalization for everyone who goes to upload something that they're proud of, you got to take it with a word of caution. And
Mm-hmm.
if it fails, whatever, made it for yourself. And if you laughed and enjoyed it, that's all that matters. You try again with the next video. Um, but I don't know where my train of thought was, but I think I answered the question.
I I think you did and then some, because I was gonna say, like, so to
Yeah, for
flip it
you,
back
for
to me,
you.
for me, now back to me. Um, no, uh, I was gonna say for me, it's like it's twofold when that voice is the weakest or whatnot, and they both have to do with, like, I guess the podcast in one way or another, or podcasting in general. Um, One is whenever I'm inviting guests on the podcast, and the other one is when I'm actually in the conversation itself, chatting with someone. Um, when I'm inviting people for the podcast, I think I've just gotten to the point to where I know that, like, not everyone is going to say yes or even respond if I want them on the podcast in one way or another. So, like, for me, when that voice is like, they're not interested, like, why would they even bother? And me, I just like, fuck it, we bought.
Yeah, send.
Yeah, fucking said, because I've gotten to that point to where I've asked so many different people, and so many, I've gotten so many no responses, but, like, I've also gotten several more yeses than I've ever anticipated with a lot of the guests. I mentioned him earlier, Asher Roth. You could not tell me back in late 2000s, early 2010s. You could not tell little Nathan, hey, you know that I Love College song that you enjoy listening with your dad and such? You're going to interview that guy. And I'm going to be like, who the fuck are you?
Get out of here.
God, learn to shave, Jesus. But, like, interviewing someone like that, or interviewing someone that literally had a hand in my childhood with Joe Horn, or interviewing all these different people, if I had not taken the opportunity to ask, I wouldn't have gotten to that point. So that's why I guess, trained myself to the point to where I don't need to really have a second doubt when it comes to asking someone, because it's either going to be they're not going to respond, they're going to say no for one reason or another, or you get a yes and you get an episode. And that's what kind of leads into the second fold of it. Because when I'm actually in the conversation with someone, there is no doubt in my mind of, like, the conversation is flowing, the conversation is going the way that I want to. I'm having a good time. The guest seems to be having a good time. I can't guarantee for sure. Like, I'll be blunt, Iris. Right before we started recording with this, I was having that little voice in my head being like, you don't need to record this today. Like, everything's gonna be all good. Like, you can probably record a different time, or maybe Iris will stop being hyper fixated. I'm like, no, I want to do this.
It will get
Today's the
done.
day.
See,
today's
I also
today's the day.
I also vocalized that, and you were like, "No, we're doing it now."
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
it wasn't
Straight up.
necessarily that moment where it was my internal voice saying that we shouldn't do this now. I was at least trying to be considerate of you. Like,
Oh
you
yeah.
never know. Um,
I would say, like, the thing is, like, if I felt like it was gonna be too draining or taxing on me to do it, I would have easily said, yeah, let's just wait this for another time. But, like, again, all I'm really doing is sitting on my bed, with a light shining in my face, talking to a good friend, like casually chatting. To me, that's soothing. That's relaxation. That's
Oh
how
yeah.
I like relax more than anything else. Like rather than just being a potato, laying down, playing MLB or WWE or Madden for the 500th time in the row, while there's a VC going on and they're talking about Minecraft or anime titties or whatever the fuck they're talking about. Like
Yeah, I wonder who that could have been.
This is my therapy. This
Mhm.
is how I get out of my zone. This is how I feel comfortable and at ease. So that's why whenever the voice is just like, you don't need to do it. Fuck it. No, we're doing it. We're doing it live.
Yeah, the answer to the creative sigh is the fuck it, we ball. We just do it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That
Uh,
and that right there is what we need to train ourselves to do a lot better with all these like fun ideas, because it's not like the ideas that you have aren't bad. It's just mentally you're just like, I just don't want, like I just need time myself.
give me a minute, please.
It's,
And you're like, oh, you've had 7 days. Like, let's be real. You've had 7 days to think about this.
it's like, I want sweater, I want cookies, I want kissy from grandma.
um, God,
But
we'll punch that inside voice. I want to beat up that inside voice.
You don't have to punch the inside voice, because sometimes you do need to. Sometimes you do need to consider it, because sometimes you don't want to. You don't want to get to the point where every time you punch it, you're overworking yourself. So it's like sometimes it's okay. Just listen. Like, okay, just one day.
Yep.
But then like the next day, just simply be like, all right, you need to learn your boundaries. Take a step back. Back up, bub. If not, I have a dodgeball here ready to go.
It's that like what I mentioned at the beginning, where your job is automatic. Like for the most part,
Yes.
you do things consciously because you don't want to injure yourself, but you know what you need to do, and there is no arguing in your head if you want to do it or not. It has to be done. And that's that. And that is the mentality that for creative stuff should be brought to the table. And it's actually
Yes.
something that I see argued against, that you shouldn't treat your hobby like, or sorry, at least in this case, it's we want it to be more than a hobby. We want to bring it a step further.
Exactly.
We want it to be popular, not in the sense of like I want millions of views, but we want people to see what we put together. Um, but a lot of people will say that in the same tone as a hobby, you shouldn't think of it like a job. But I actually saw a piece of advice recently where treating it like a job is actually very useful, because now you've set deadlines for yourself and you've like, I'm
Yeah.
taking this very seriously. It becomes a matter of, well, I could wait on this because it's not important to, this is very important to me and I have to get it done. Um,
I'll say
Thinking
the
to
only reason
yourself,
why,
of course.
of course, I would say the only way I would kind of argue against that is like, the hobby mentality. Unless you're like making a living off of content creation, I wouldn't personally take it seriously.
Mhm.
But also, I also just said that like I make sure to set myself up for a deadline on a weekly basis for an episode. So who am I to judge?
Yeah. Subscribe to the podcast, by the way.
Subscribe to the podcast.
Yeah, we'll make money and we'll treat it like a real job.
Like that was what that was one of the most infuriating things about having my one interview that went quote unquote semi viral or whatnot. Because I've got one episode. It was with Dubus Goobus, and that thing got like tens of thousands of views. I
Mhm.
think it's currently sitting at like 29,000, if I remember correctly. And like that's the one that got me, like it brought in so many different subscribers. It got me past the point where I can get monetized for this stuff. And it's like so cool. And then the episodes afterwards is like 50, 50, 50, 100, 20, 30, 50, 100. So it's like I didn't earn any money from YouTube for literally like a year and a half. I did
Mhm.
not get, because like you can only take out like $100 at a time. I did not earn $100 until well after I got monetized.
Yep. Yep. And
So that's part of the reason why I don't take it seriously as a job just yet, because I'm not earning enough to make it a job just yet.
oh yeah, but like it's one of those things that you temper. Like you have to temper
Yes.
it, because it's not a lot of things in life are very what's the word? They're not black and white.
Right.
They change and they flow. You feel differently one day, or the situation changes. So you have to be flexible in what happens. Uh, so to treat it like a job, but also recognize, hey, like I am a human being with human needs. My
Yes.
human needs come first, and I need to live, and that's more important. So if I have to step away, if I have to break my consistency, if I am down an episode for the week, that is totally fine.
Yeah.
Because
I
then I can come back stronger the next time, be good in doing it.
it it's a good thing you bring that up, because I'm dealing with I had to deal with a simulation, not simulation, a situation similar to that when it come to tomorrow, when Saturday, and then the following week. So I was supposed to have two interviews for the podcast tomorrow.
Uh-huh.
I was supposed to, but like I said, my aunt's in the hospital and my uncle just came over from Texas. And so I was gonna, take some time off of work, take, second half of the day, and initially go and see him. But my mom's like, "Hey, you think Christine would be interested in tagging along with you? This might be the only time she gets to meet the cool side of this side of the family."
Yeah.
Her words, not mine. Love you, mom. No, but she worded it like that, or at least like I could tell that, like, hey, it'd be kind of cool to do that kind of thing. So instantly, as soon as she asked me, I'm like, okay, well, here's what we'll do. Contacted both of the guests. I asked Christine, because like literally she told me this stuff an hour before I was supposed to go to the movie theaters to watch Deadpool Wolverine.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, all right, message both of the guests. Hey, do you think we can do it for a later date? The one of them immediately got back to me. He's like, "Yeah, sure, it's no problem, dude. Like, totally get it, no big deal." Um, Pick up Christine, tell her about the thing or whatnot. Initially, I wasn't going to bring her along because it was going to be Friday night, and she works the graveyard shift, like overnight shift. So unless she was to take a full day off of work, there was no way she was going to, go see my uncle. Uh, but instead, tell her a situation. She's like, "Yeah, I'd be interested. Like, he's cool with trans people, right?" I'm like, "I'll ask my mom just to be sure, but I'm pretty sure he's cool with trans people." Um, because I get it.
Oh
I
yeah.
get that
Mm-hmm.
mentality.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
we go to the movie. As soon as I get to the movie theater, I look at my phone. I get an email from the other guest I was supposed to interview tomorrow. I was like, "Yeah, sure, we can move it to like the next day." Fuck yes. So yeah, and like mom, like I told her about this stuff, and I think she was like, you really didn't have to do that. I get that you had plan. No, wait. I mean, that's also important, but also like
Yeah.
another thing is like similar vein, but different side story or whatnot. So the Sunday after my aunt got in the hospital, my mom texted me at like 9 o'clock in the morning. I sleep late, just to let you know, let y'all
Mm-hmm.
know. But texting me and my brother at like 9 o'clock in the morning is like, "Hey, your aunt's taking like a step back. It might not be good. I need you guys here." Now that day, I was supposed to be part of a live stream to help raise money for Tipsy, in fact, to help
Mm-hmm.
with the Evil Little thing. I'd been on the live stream that they were doing the previous day, and I was fully planning on doing that. But like the instant my mom said that like she needed me, like me and my brother, I was immediately like, I messaged Grim like, "Hey, sorry to have to do this. I'm going to dip. Aunt's in the hospital, just looking to make sure whatnot."
Mm-hmm.
I make the hour and a half drive to get to where my aunt was staying at, give my mom the biggest hug possible, told her about all that stuff. And she's like, "You really didn't have to do that." I'm like, "Mom, believe me when I say, like, when it comes to all this side stuff and all this extra stuff, family comes first and foremost. Like, I could push that stuff to the side. Like, at least for me, when it comes to the family that I have, whether it's the family that I was born with or the family I choose, family comes first. Like, extracurricular podcast stuff can wait."
Mm-hmm.
So that I guess it's a weird tangent, but in a roundabout way, kind of like what you were talking about, finding that kind of balance between the things that we love and those hobbies that are small, that our inside voices can sometimes be like, eh.
Yeah.
But also keep in mind that we also have a life and we have people that we love and want to be around. And, we have to, unfortunately, in today's economy, earn a living so that we could, have a warm bed and eat. Well, eat. I can't say good food, but
Yeah, just
eat.
eat food that can be consumed and is not rat.
Consume.
Yeah, it's
But yeah,
that
it's that balance.
situation of sometimes what you think is your inside voice is actually the like real tangible, like this is logic right now. We can't
Yep.
do this. We can't do it right now because something else is more important in our life. We need to
Yes.
eat food. We need to go see our family. We need to take care of a job and earn that living. And that is totally fine. I think that's a very healthy way to approach it. Um,
Yes.
but I want to bring up something. This might be a weird way to end off the interview on. Not the
Okay.
interview, the podcast. Goodness, I'm
I
so
was gonna.
interview
I was gonna
pilled.
say. I was gonna say this is a weird way to end our conversation.
Yeah, no,
Let's
but
call it. Let's call it what it is. This isn't. This isn't an interview. This isn't a podcast. This is a conversation.
I will be recording that answer when I submit this to the overlords. So I'm sorry about that.
Well,
Yeah,
we had a good run.
yeah,
It was good after one episode.
yeah. First and last episode. The corporate's really crazy right now. They're asking me for a lot.
Yeah, who knew that Overlord Media would be so high strung about how things need to end?
So I want to present you with a little bit of role play,
Okay.
in the sense of this is something that happened to me and
Okay.
consistently happens to me, and it actually has nothing really. Well, you know what? I will include an example of something that happens with content creation, but also a
Okay.
real world, like outside of everything example where I just ran into this situation. So
Okay.
you are me. You're a
Okay.
trans woman right now. Uh,
About damn time. Anyways,
and you are 6'4" and carrying
okay, that's not.
this huge bag on your side, right?
Oh,
It,
I, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. My mind is a horrible thing. Is like you're a trans woman. You are 6'4", and you're carrying these gigantic tits.
I wish. But you're carrying a peculiar looking bag, and
Okay.
the astute, especially you, because in this scenario you're a chef. You know
Mm-hmm.
that in this bag are a bunch of chef knives, and
Oh.
you are walking to work because you are within walking distance of work, as in me, but
Mm-hmm.
as in you.
Yep.
And it's a very early in the morning because you had to come in for an event day. So it's like
Right.
at least 6:30 a.m. You're walking
Lovely.
to your job on the hiking trail, and in front of you, you see another person. And this
Ooh.
other person is walking at a much slower pace than you. They're still fast, but
Mm-hmm.
you're being 6'4", your gait is much faster than this person.
Yes.
You are going to be passing them at some point. What do
Correct.
you do? It's 6:30 in the morning. You're a tall 6'4" person. What do you do?
What time do I need to be at work?
uh, you left a little early, so you have like a
Okay.
good 20 minutes to get there.
You have a good 20 minutes to get there. Okay. Obviously, if it was me, and if I were you, and if he's in there and we're out here, and if he's out here and we're in there, no, no. But in all seriousness, if it was me, as I am walking by or whatnot, just do a casual little, if the path allows, I should say, just casually walk by, give a simple little, hey, how's it going? If they want to continue the conversation, continue. If not, just keep going about your day.
Wow. that was a great response, I think.
What is your real life? What happened in your real life, dare I ask?
Okay. So I part of my inside voice is I'm very susceptible to thinking about a bunch of different scenarios all at once. I'm
Mm,
thinking to myself, it's like 6:30 in the morning. This person's walking their dog. I am not necessarily walking fast, but I am intimidating because of how fast I
right.
am walking. I look like I am rushing to this person. In my brain, I'm thinking,
Mm,
shit, if they turn around, they see me, I don't want them to feel nervous. I don't want them to feel bad. And so I slow down.
okay.
Now it looks like I'm following them because I'm
Yep.
matching their
Yep.
pace.
Yep.
Shit. Okay, I got 20 minutes. I can make it back to work. I turn around and I go the other way.
You what?
I walk the long way around.
You okay. I you know what? I get it. I get it. Mentally, I get where you're coming from. Because like again, you don't want to be like awkward one way or another. Either way. Cause like if you keep walking at the pace you're going, and if they just happen to turn around at a particular moment, they think that you're after them. Or in your mind, that little voice in your head.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And like you can't stay back a certain pace because it's like, oh god, do they think I'm stalking them? Fuck, 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 fuck. I get where your mind is at, but you also gotta consider that, at least for me, if I were
Yep.
you also
Mm-hmm.
gotta consider that this person has their own priorities and their own thoughts or whatnot. And while yeah, you may be an intimidating 6'4", trans woman
With a
steadily
knife
approaching.
bag. Uh,
Well, I would like to assume that it's not clear that there are knives in the bag. Correct me
yeah,
if I'm
yeah.
wrong.
They're not poking out or anything.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's not like it's not like the bag is literally just like one of the wooden cases that holds the knives in it, or the wooden blocks that holds the knives in it, wrapped around, strap around your neck, to where all you gotta do is just hi.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah. No, no. They're sealed-ish away. Like I could access them, but they're not something that I can just like, whoosh, like Rurouni Kenshin, just like quick draw on somebody.
exactly. Exactly. But it's one of those like, especially if they see that like you're walking by, as long as you keep the path you're going. Like if they somehow turn to look behind and then they start walking faster or whatnot, okay, fine. That kind of works out for you, because if that's the case, you can slow down a little bit to kind of let them know, hey, I'm not here chasing after you, and they can walk ahead a little further. So there's that little bit of a gap in the space or whatnot. Um, but also like, I'm sorry, if it was me, I would keep going along the path and I would try to see if there was some other like turn along the path, not turn around and walk around.
Yeah, yeah. That would be the normal thing to do in that
That
situation.
would
Uh,
that would be the normal thing. But again, I get it. There have been several times where I am like, even if it's simple as like grocery shopping or whatnot. Like I literally had the thought when I was shopping at my local supermarket last weekend, and just pushing my cart, happened to be going to, I think it was the ice cream section because I want some ice cream. And I just happened to be behind a woman who also just seems to be taking the same exact turns that am doing. And I had that thought in my head of, oh God, I hope she doesn't think that I'm like stalking her or like chasing after her or something like that.
yeah,
And
it's like
so,
an
like, obviously,
intrusive thought at that point.
exactly, it is a very intrusive thought. But also, I also got to keep in mind that at the end of the day, these people have their own priorities. And if they were really concerned about, someone chasing after them, I'm sure you would have enough intuition on your own to realize, hey, they think I'm like stalking them or whatnot. And then you react by going a completely different direction.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know what it is. I think for me, it's the like I imagine myself in that person's shoes, and
Yes.
I would feel uncomfortable if it felt like. And it's funny because this particular scenario, this happened a while ago, a long time ago, but I do remember it
Hmm.
vividly. Um, was predated by somebody in the middle of the night, because I used to work really late, so this is a completely different job, but same area. I was taking my hiking trail back home, and in the
Mm-hmm.
middle of the night, it was snowing, it was foggy, it was very dark out, and despite my gait, there was someone behind me with an umbrella and a full hoodie on, who
Mm.
was walking faster than me. And I was terrified because I was in a back trail. There was like no cameras, no easy visibility to the road. I thought I was gonna die.
You know what? Here's the funny thing. I'm the same way when I'm driving. That's the thing.
Mhm.
Like if I'm driving along the road or whatnot, and I see a car just like quickly coming up on my tail end real quickly, I'm thinking, okay, I need to move the fuck out of the way because this person is not stopping. Or what? There's been I can vividly remember one time to where I'm coming back home from work, and there's this car that is just constantly like on my ass. And instead of just keeping the course and keep it going straight, because obviously I'm the one setting the pace in this case, or not because it's a single lane road. The first opportunity I took, I just bolted to the right turn lane, let that person go past, loop around that parking lot, and then just get back on the road whenever traffic's good enough to get back on.
God damn our brains! Like, why does this happen?
Yeah.
Um,
Isn't that the purpose of why we're doing this, this little venture, this little podcast thing, just to
yeah,
figure out what the fuck's up with our brains?
yeah. The get connected part is we're actually like trying to find a way to astrally project to each other by connecting
Yeah.
neural pathways. And I think the more
And,
similarities we find, will eventually just become one consciousness, one being.
I mean, I'm cool with becoming a trans spider, toad thing,
Frog.
frog. My bad. There's a difference. There is a difference. I apologize.
Yeah, and to prove just how far we've gotten, let's do a little exercise. So
Oh,
I'll like start us off. We'll say the same sentence. So
okay.
I
I
want to
want to
meet
meet you,
Billy. I oh fuck.
Billy. We were so close.
Damn it. We'll try again next week.
Wait, you're telling me you're not Billie Eilish?
No, I'm not. I wish I could be. So,
I could eat that girl for lunch. Anyways,
so one more little role play. This
okay,
one is related to my creative endeavors.
okay,
And this is something I think about every single day. And it is
okay.
something that haunts me with every situation that I get myself into, not with people that I don't know, but with people
Lay it on me.
I know as an acquaintance. So you, and this might be an easy answer. So you
Okay.
have an idea for a video that you want to do, talking about a
Fucking with
very
Paul. No, I'm joking. Keep going. No, keep going. Keep going. Sorry.
and hold on, train of thought, come back to me. You have this video that you want to make, and it
Hmm.
involves a very specific person because
Okay.
it's a topic related video, and you just want to bring them on to talk about it.
Okay.
But you have not
But
talked to this person for like 3 or 4 months. So you know them,
oh,
and you have had them in a situation before where you've creatively been with them, but it's been 3 or 4 months, and you know you cannot possibly keep track of all of your friends at the same time and the people that you
right.
know. It's just you just thought about this person.
Hmm.
How to approach this person with this
The sa-
idea?
the same way that I approach any other guest that I would approach for a certain idea, even if it's been 3 or 4 months since we've done something together or whatnot. Just simply pop in with a simple question like, "Hey, I have this idea for something. And I think it'd be really cool to do it with you." Explain the idea and just go forth with it. Because again, like I said before, I have asked so many people and gotten so many guests on the podcast or whatnot just by simply asking. So if I have
Mhm.
an idea for something that I really want to do, I just need to at least ask and take the steps toward making it a reality, making it a thing. And if I think that this person is gonna be the perfect one for that endeavor or whatnot, at least ask them first, make sure that they're not too busy or make sure that they're not going through anything personal in their life. or maybe that's exactly what you want, depending on what the venture is. Um, and I mean, the worst they can say is no,
Mhm. Or just not respond to you.
or just not respond. What do you personally think is worse? No or no response?
No response.
No response. Yeah.
Especially if you've known them before, because that
Oh
kinda just
yeah.
confirms the fear of, like,
Yeah.
"Ah, shit." Um, so my answer to that situation and what I have done, and you know what? I will name drop, and not in the sense of, like, I want to, like, tell on this person, because I nothing's happened yet, this is on
Hmm.
me. But on several occasions, I've had an idea that I want to do with VTuber Yomi Quinley, who I've had on
Okay.
to interview in the past. And I've also
Okay.
had her on for a double dose in the past. So
Okay.
we've got a resume, basically, with each
Hmm.
other. But I have this idea that I want to cover. I won't say it yet because I want it to be more of a surprise.
Right.
And but I feel like I talk to her very infrequently. And this happens with a lot of other creatives I talk to, because it isn't a secret that I want to grow as a creator. Sometimes I
Right.
feel like, do they think that I'm talking to them because I want clout, or like I just want their views and their audience to come to me? Um,
Right.
because when I talked to Yomi previously to be on Double Dose and talking about being genuine, that was our big topic. Um, she was on the path to being partner, and now she is partner. And with past experience, every partner that I've talked to either ghosts me or they lead me on for a very long time. So I have that happening on top of it all. I just worry, like, do they envision me a smaller creator by a large margin as a, like, am I a burden? Am I an obstacle? Because I don't really bring anything to them, if I'm being real at the moment, until we blow up, of course, and then I'll have all of them in my pocket. But like that's something I worry about, and I know I shouldn't. I know I should just ask, and if I get that no, then that's fine.
Yeah.
Um, but I am terrified of receiving the ghost. Um, it hasn't happened
Trust me.
yet, but
Well, I mean, that's a good mentality right there. First off, the fact that you're telling me that the you've had them on for at least twice, and the second time it was talking about being genuine more than anything else.
yeah, what a
So
wild
like,
thing.
if you ask them for this little idea and they're not genuine with you, it's kind of hypocritical. Just saying. Um, no, but in all seriousness, like especially with what you're talking about. I mean, it's not like this is someone that you've been wanting to have for a while and you're just throwing a shot in the dark and trying to make something happen. Um, in fact, it reminds me of a fun little story that I'll tell in a second.
Mhm.
But it's not just like, you're throwing a random, you're not throwing a dart at a random wall and hoping that it hits a dartboard or something like that. No, it's one of those like you've had several good quality conversations with this person. It's just been a while since you two chatted. And that you can't say that as a bad thing. Yeah, keep in mind that like, people have life. They're busy with stuff. Like you said, they were making a partner push. So they were probably putting a lot of time and effort to get in that partner push more than anything else. So I think just a message. First off, asking how they're doing, hope they're holding up well or whatnot, and then laying out the idea more than anything else.
Mhm.
Like being like, hey, I have this cool idea that I've been thinking about, and I think you'd be perfect for it. Would you be down for it? That's the way you should go about it more than anything else. Because if nothing else, it shows that at least that person that they left such an impact on you that you want to do this fun little creative venture with that person. That's how I would at least take it.
Yeah,
Like for
whenever I
us,
think about it, yeah, that's what it is always. Like, I had a great time talking about that topic before. I had a fun time interviewing.
yes,
What's different now? Is it a confidence thing? Is it the creative side that's taking precedent, trying to be comfortable and not take the risk? Um,
if I can, I'll personally say I think that with us, certain fact what we do, which is bringing on all sorts of different artists or VTubers, bringing on different people. We've gotten into kind of a rhythm with some of those people, or at least how the people are going to react, to where I don't know about you, but at least for me, I interviewed the person, keep up with touch them before the episode release, and then after the episode release, either we keep talking or it just kind of goes radio silent.
Mm-hmm.
That I've kind of gotten into that rhythm. And I don't take it personally. I never take it personally because I understand that like the people were willing to give me a little bit of their time, that they could be focused on so many other different things. Like for me, I'm taking away people that could be animating their own, project, or making their own game, or developing the music that could push them to the stars. They're taking an hour or so of their time away to chat with me. So like if it goes back to being radio silent, I don't take that personally. It's just, hey, they've got their lives, they got to focus on stuff. I think it's just kind of, especially considering the fact that you got them in the first place, trying to do a conversation and bringing some of their audience to you. You don't want it to seem mentally like you're just continuously milking them for those views, for that audience or whatnot. When at the end of the day, in your heart, it's for a genuine conversation. You do not care less if this thing, flies or sinks or whatnot. You just want to have a genuine conversation about a genuine topic.
Mm-hmm.
You just don't want to personally come across like you're just doing it for the clout, because it's so easy for people to be in it just for the clout these days.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but on the contrary, I do take it personally. Please talk to me. Do you have any examples, any role playing examples, or are you a perfect human being in this regard? And
oh, jeez, I'm far, honey, I am far from perfect. All right. Okay. I'm gonna give you a very, very specific scenario.
Okay.
Very specific scenario. Because this happened to me, and I want to see what you would do in this situation. So let's say you were me. Yeah. Big old 6 foot something cis male. I'm sorry. I apologize ahead of time. But you get to go to your first convention ever. Or I don't know. Have you ever been to a convention before? Just out of curiosity?
Oh, yes. I have been to
a
couple.
So,
yeah.
So you know the excitement of like that first con more than anything else, especially when you know that some of the voice actors for some of your favorite show is going to be there. So you specifically want to get a very specific thing signed by them, and you bring it to the first person, and you present that item to that first person, and they say, "I don't know if I can sign this."
Ooh.
What do you do in that situation where you have this thing that you want them to sign and they cannot sign it?
Is it too much to ask for the pertinent information of what was it that they needed, that you wanted them to sign?
A bootleg version of merch of the show that they are voicing.
I see.
And I will go into details of my story to tell you how I handled the situation.
If it's
I
purely me and I've replaced you fully in this scenario, up until this split-second decision that I have to make, I would walk away.
You would walk away.
I would say, "Oh,
okay.
Oh, sorry," and I would leave line. Like I would just get out of there.
Now let me add this little caveat. So keep in mind, like I said, it is multiple people on this show that are there signing autographs or whatnot. This person straight up says they cannot sign it, but the person next to them, who is also part of the show, is super excited to see that merch and wants to see it immediately.
I think at that point, I would take that opportunity, that like the golden rod being handed to me, and I would shift over to that person. I think I would be able to do it. But I would not be able to look that other voice actor in the eyes for the remainder of the day.
Okay. That is extremely valid. Now let me tell you how I handled this situation.
I'm ready.
So first off, as you could probably guess, it was bootleg merch of the Amazing Digital Circus. Yeah. And the people that were there were the voice of Pomni, Lizzie Freeman, and the voice of Kane, Alex Rochon. Two very fantastic people. I was not planning on getting this bootleg merch, but a couple months prior to the convention, I had went to a flea market with my girlfriend, and I saw it there. And I'm thinking to myself, my God, who would buy this garbage? Wait, the people that are on the show are going to be at the convention I'm going to. It'd be so hilarious if I can get them to sign this merch. So I bought it, $20. I hated how much I spent for it because they're like crap. They're these crappy little like figurines that are like probably 5 cents to make.
Mhm.
All right, and the box itself felt cheap. Okay, that's how bootleg it was. But I took it up to Lizzie first because Alex is Canadian, and so I need to get actual currency, not my credit card, in order to get a signature from him. So that's why I went to Lizzie first. But I presented the bootleg merch just simply being like, I'm just curious because I know you sign personal items. Would this be something that you sign? She looked at it with this look of like awe and amazement, and not immediately, but like looked at it and it's like, I don't know if I can sign this. Like she wasn't being like rejective of it. She was being like sweet about it, like sincere. Like it's one of those like it's not that she didn't want to sign it. It felt wrong for her to sign it because Gooseworks, who created the show, was at the convention. So it'd be kind of weird to sign the bootleg merch for the show that the creator that you're working for is also there.
Mm-hmm.
And like I got that. I completely understood it. It was a weird thing and it sucked that I have this bootleg merch now. But Alex Lizzie was like, "Hey Alex." Alex looked over, saw the merch, and was immediately like, "I need to see it." Got the merch, set it on the table, took a quick photo, gave it back to me. I did buy a print and a signature of something else because from Lizzie, because I had a friend of mine who wanted a particular piece based on Lycosis Recoil, I think is what the anime is called.
Licorice Recoil.
Licorice Recoil. Yes, because Lizzie voices like the main character of that show. And in fact, what was cool is the print that I bought from her, she actually did the art of it herself.
Lizzie, can you come onto the show?
Right? I need to reach out. I need to reach out to her on Instagram and get her on both this podcast and the Postmodern Art podcast. Anyway,
yeah, you remember that bootleg merch I wanted you to sign? That was me.
hold that thought because that.
All right.
So the following day, I get some actual currency. I get some actual cash, and I go right up to Alex Rochon. After I tried waiting in line to be blunt, Vivian Madrano, but she wasn't showing up at that time. But I went to Alex Rochon because there was no one in his line, which surprised the fuck out of me, especially with how popular Amazing Digital Circus is. But I went up to him. I was waiting behind some of my buddies who were like going at the same time as me. So I go to him. I'm like, "Hey, I don't know if you remember me, but I'm sure you remember this." I pull out the bootleg merch again. And he has this look of like excitement on his face. It's like a kid in the candy store. He saw that merch again. Now I said to him, "Now I don't know if you can sign this, so I want you to have it." I gave him the bootleg merch, and he lit up even more. He's just like, "You have no idea how much I've been looking for this," because he apparently collects bootleg merch. That's like his thing. And so, like, he saw that and he literally said, "This is my trash holy grail right here." He literally called it trash holy grail. The fact that he had bootleg merch of the show that he is working on more than anything else. I got a quick chat. I bought this print from him and got him to sign it. And on top of that, I gave him my business card, and he gave me his. And I emailed him saying that I was the bootleg merch guy. Would you like to hop on the podcast? And he's the guy I'm interviewing this upcoming Sunday.
Yeah, let's go. Big wins. Now we just got to get Lizzie.
I'll focus on Lizzie after I get Alex. I got to take care of.
Hell yeah. This is not another role play scenario, but to bounce off of what you had with your voice actor situation. I went to a convention several years back and I got to meet Eric Stewart, is the
Ooh.
voice of Brock and James from Pokemon.
Okay. Okay.
And
I get what you're getting at.
I was a little younger, so I pardoned myself for this today. It doesn't bother me as much. But I went up to the
Mhm.
table. I didn't look at anything of what he had on the table. Because I honestly wasn't expecting, like, I didn't research who the voice actors were going to be. I just was like, oh, Eric Stewart's here. I want to go see him. I want him to say a line for me. And I go up and I say, hey,
Oh.
can you say that line that you say with the frying pan over your head? And then he points down at the table and he's like, you mean this one? And it's the exact picture of the exact thing I'm describing. And I I don't think I have ever lit up brighter red in my entire life. I was so embarrassed because it was painfully obvious if I just took a second to look a little bit more down at, because he gets it all of the time. I thought I was special.
Right.
Um so yeah,
I get
there's
that.
Iris's
I
awkward moment.
fuck. Is that the new name of the podcast? Iris's awkward moments.
We'll make that like a subsection because I have a lot of like socially awkward things that I run into, things that I say that really like I shouldn't have said that if I just put one extra second of thought into it. Um, but nonetheless, they happen, and they will still continue to happen until the end of my life.
I'll say you're the kind of person that pulls on the push door, aren't you?
And then pretends like, yeah, that was me, joke, classic jokester, and I open the door normally. So to end off the podcast, not the final episode, just our little pilot episode. I have homework for
Okay.
not just us, but for everybody at home, pertaining to the little voices in our heads. So this week, and you won't technically see this until we release it next week. So we'll make
Mhm.
it like 2 weeks. This is your 2 week warning. I want everybody and ourselves to find one project that we don't normally do that we've been wanting to do and actually do it.
Okay.
Simple as.
No, I'll say I know what I need to be doing already. I already got it lined up.
Okay. And for me it can't be editing this podcast and uploading it because that would be kind of disingenuous, but I'm going to try to finish, at least for me personally, I want to finish at least one of the happy hours,
Okay.
and I want to get the B-roll. Like that has to be done by the time I upload the episode. So
For
uh
me, I just want to get one of the episodes of Google Trendy taken care of because one of them I've been holding on to since late May, and we're in
goddamn.
August right now. Yeah. So,
Real shit.
yeah. Yeah.
In a similar vein, like as far as the B-roll goes, I told myself for that specific channel that I would do one video a month, and then I realized that that wasn't very feasible because I can't
Mm,
force myself to do it because it takes
right.
it takes a lot of effort. Um,
Yeah.
but then I was like, okay, at the very least, guaranteed, let me do a video at least every 3 months, and we are like about 20-ish days over that, so I gotta get it
Okay.
done now, you know.
That's not too. I was afraid you're gonna be like, yeah. So I said I was gonna do it in every 3 months. It's been 7 months.
No, 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 no. It's I uploaded that video at the beginning of May. We're now in
Mhm.
August, so a very similar
Yep.
May situation there.
Yep.
And everybody at home, you do that as well. You can tweet at our show at connected Wian, WIAN.
That
Um,
is connected. That is connected with Iris and Nathan. Just
yes,
condensed.
yeah, but it was too long a title for Twitter, so we
Yep.
shortened it. And I'm
They couldn't
sure,
handle us.
and I'm sure a lot of other places. But we can keep the DMs open, or if you want to tweet directly at us, if you do see it, we'll be getting that off the ground. And just tell us like what is something that you want to do and that you want to get done for this week, and maybe we'll congratulate you, or we'll egg you on and to help you get it done. Whatever needs to be done for the next episode. Yeah,
Yeah.
Nathan, if
Iris.
somebody was gonna go find you, where would they go find you on your socials, not in real life? Uh,
Well, if they were to find me, my address is 123 Playground Street. No. Now, if they were to find me, well, they would have to find the podcast I also host called the Postmodern Art Podcast. So it's just basically at Postmodern Art Pod on Twitter, Instagram, Blue Sky, TikTok, most social media platforms. It should be just at Postmod Art Pod. I would also highly recommend to check out the Twitter for this channel and whatever other social media be planning for this channel, because we want to really be engaged with our audience here. We want to really engage with you guys, and the more interaction we have through this, the easier it'll be for us to plan out what we could do in the future.
Yeah, and leave 5 stars, right? Like,
absolutely, 5 stars wherever you can. Like, share, subscribe, comment your favorite moments. Tell me that Iris is an absolutely fantastic person to lead the charge on this thing. Like, do all that jazz.
You're a wonderful co-host. Thank you for.
Well, no, absolutely. Now, if people want to figure out more about you or get to know you a little bit better, where can they find you on the socials?
So you can find me in 2 places, depending on what your flavor of Iris you would like. You can find me at Just Irisu pretty much everywhere, from YouTube to Twitter, as well as TikTok. Or you can find me at Loot VT. So the action of Loot VT. Same places, Twitter, YouTube, and a bunch of other places. I don't know, like, I guess on the Just Irisu side, again, controversial, and I like to be a little bit more serious. And on the Loot side, I like to be a little bit more goofy.
Oh, there you go.
Sorry,
there you go.
I'm attacking my cat right now. Hold on. And Cinnamon says hi, my cat at home.
There you go.
And yeah,
we're gonna make Cinnamon the official mascot of this podcast. Get connected
yes.
with Cinnamon.
With Cinnamon. Now, should we create like a little like exiting phrase, like a little thing that we say to round off the interview? Because like the thing that I say on both channels, which I really should not do if I want to keep them separate, is I always say, and as always, I will see you next time. Take care now.
You see, while that is very genuine or whatnot, I want to think of something at least a little bit more unique for us to be connected with our audience as well. So maybe something along the lines of "We'll connect with you next time" or something like that. Maybe not as cheesy.
We'll connect with you next time. Let's see.
Oh, well, how about just simply and until next time, stay connected.
Okay, hold on. We can make this work. Hold on.
Okay.
Let's take it one more step further.
Okay.
All right. Thank you all for listening. I've been Iris.
And I've been Nathan.
And till next time,
stay connected.